Yo, Bo, welcome to another episode of In the Life with MightyFan. And, my goodness, we're creeping up on close to 130 episodes of this? Maybe more? I forget exactly what the number is. I think it's like 123 or 24 so far. It's amazing to think it's been that many episodes of this. But I guess it just goes to show I have a lot to talk about and a lot to show over the span of this series, and I don't have anything to show in this episode, but there a couple topics I thought I'd kind of discuss. The first of which is the MLB season is just around the corner. Full teams have arrived at spring training, and the season is, I mean, believe it or not, roughly a month away. A little over a month away. The first games take place this weekend in spring training. It's unbelievable, man. How quickly it goes from the last game of the World Series to the first game of spring training. But that being said, so I remember a bit back I had mentioned that I had started noticing on Fanatics that the MLB jerseys from Nike started having the logos on the sleeves for teams that have logos or what have you. And so there's three tiers of jerseys now. They've kind of gone the way of the NFL, where you have your basic bare bone jersey, which is, I guess, their version of the game jersey for what the NFL does, where there's no bells and whistles. It's just basically the team word mark on the front, player name and number on the back, or just blank. All right, and that's the cheapest variety of this jersey. Then you have, I think I think they call it the limited as well, like the NFL. Their version of the limited, and that's the one where you get a little more bells and whistles with the jersey. I believe it's still the same heat pressed, applied, team word mark on the front, name and number on the back, and if the team has a logo on the sleeve, it will come with the logo. So that's about a little bit more, not much more than that, cheapest one you can get, but just a bit more because you're getting a little more bells and whistles, I guess, for those, little logos and whatnot. And then you have the elite, just like the NFL, the elites, which are basically what the player wears on the field, right? You have all the air vents, you have the whatever, however they wear the jersey on the field is basically what you're getting. But there's a difference this year with these jerseys, and I know it's caught a lot of attention. I saw some of these jerseys this past weekend. I made my way over to the clubhouse store, mainly just to kind of see what was around, kind of eyeball, what they had available. And I took a look at the jerseys, and I saw some more. I went over to Dick's Sporting Goods, because if it's sports, it's Dick's, right? So I went there on Sunday to a local Dick's Sporting Goods just to kind of look around. I was kind of bored, so I figured I'd get out a little bit. I didn't do a vehicle vlog. I thought about it. It just didn't happen. But so what's different now is the name and the names on the back. The font size for the player name on the back is smaller. I don't know why they're doing this. They did something different with the material. Something about recycled material, whatever it is. I guess it's just the Authentics. I don't know if they did that with all the jerseys. I know the Authentics, they're making a big deal about that. And, some of the players like it, some of the players don't like it. But the names on the back, the font is smaller. And again, I don't know why they chose to do this. Because honest to God, they look like kids' jerseys. It's an adult jersey. It's an adult jersey, but it looks like a kid's jersey on the back. The name and at least the name is small. The letter font is who thought this was a good idea? This doesn't make any sense. And I forget if the numbers are smaller too. If I were to say maybe, I would imagine, but the name is very noticeable. Like the word font is noticeably smaller for the letters on the back for the name. The other difference, at least I know for my Phillies, for authentic jerseys. So the Phillies word mark on the front of their jerseys have been chain stitched for really ever since they rebranded and wore the jerseys that they've worn for, oh God, how long? Since '92, basically, right? The Phillies word mark on the front, it was always chain stitched letters and up, right, for the word Phillies. It's no longer chain stitched. It's now just regular material. It's not that was disappointing, because one of the things I always liked about the Phillies authentic jerseys, and I'll go get one of them right now so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know, so I have to grab one of my authentics here. Bear with me a second. Should be one right up the front. So, actually, I'm sorry. This is a replica one. I thought this was an authentic. Let's try this again without the oops. Okay. Let's see what I can find here. All right, this one for sure. Okay. So I'm gonna get my Bryce Harper jersey from some years ago. It's the last year for Majestic, but Nike, when Nike took over, it was still chain stitched. So the numbers, as you see, the letters rather, beautiful chain stitching right there for the word mark on the front. Now everything else is not chain stitched, right? This is just regular applied, right? Regular twill, not chain stitched. But now for the Phillies, and I'm guessing the other teams that had chain stitched word marks on the front, like the Cardinals, I would imagine now they're all like this. I don't know why they chose to do it, but they did it. Okay. Now, of course, back then the Phillies did have the number on the sleeve. They don't anymore. But as you see the name on the back, it's a smaller font now. So the font is a smaller font. Again, I don't know why they chose to do this. And the MLB logo, which sat up nicely up here, is now further down. So the Batterman logo got bumped down. Everything else, I think, got bumped down a little bit too. The font for the name is smaller. And I don't remember about the number 2. It could be. So it's almost like everything kind of got shifted down a little bit, and the number size per letter is now smaller for the name on the back. Which, again, it just doesn't make any sense. But the prices stayed the same. But I mean, gone. So rest in peace to the beautiful chain stitching for the teams like my Phillies that had chain stitched word font on the front. I'm going to miss that. This, to me, always looked good. Classic. So, and again, the only way to get the chain stitching on a jersey, prior to this season was to have an authentic. Because obviously the replicas didn't have the chain stitching. But this is one of my authentics, so it does have the chain stitching. But it's gone now. They did away with chain stitching. So, I mean, in my opinion, the jerseys got downgraded. The prices pretty much stayed the same. Now, I do think it's cool that, you have the limiteds or whatever that do have the logos on the sleeve for the teams that wear them or whatever. My Phillies not being one of them, but like let's say the Pirates have the pirate head with the bats, that's crossbones kind of look. You got the the Twins with the TC. You got the Mariners with the compass logo, right? The Mets with the Mets logo. Many different teams will have that some sort of logo on the sleeve, and you can get that. And before you couldn't. And now it's like more available for a replica jersey. You don't just have to buy the $375 authentics to get them, right? I just don't think there's any reason for that $375 price tag now, because the jerseys have just they've really cheapened them, in my opinion, with making the font smaller for the name on the back. And now again, for teams like the Phillies, who did have chain stitching for the front, word mark for the team name, doesn't do that anymore. The Cardinals did. It was beautiful. Some of those jerseys, I think the Reds did too, were just really nice with that chain stitching. And now it's no longer going to be a thing, at least to the best of my knowledge. And like I said, I had some of these jerseys in my hand, just kind of giving them a good look over, and you could just tell the difference. The material is slightly different than it was. But the overall look is just, I have no idea who came up with this. Obviously Nike, but it's like, why? What was the reason for this? I can understand if you want to change the material or whatever, but why are you playing around with the size of the name font? Name should be seen from like up in your seats, you know. I don't know. I have no idea, but it's really disheartening. It just is. And even the Batterman being further down, in some cases you have teams that have the piping along the neck, and the Batterman used to be above the piping on the back of the neck. Now it's below the piping on the neck. It looks weird. It looks just strange. It's like what you know, they almost look like, I mean, honest to God, they almost look like knockoff jerseys. If you see these, if you look at the back of these jerseys, it's just like, what are we doing here, right? To me, I mean, a better, analogy was they look like kids' jerseys. Like they look like youth jerseys. Like if you didn't see the size in the front, you would think, oh, this is like a youth jersey. But then, no, this is a 2X adult. Oh my. What is going on? And there's been a lot of people on YouTube who have done reviews and have done just their, hatred towards this. I can't understand why, what the thought process for this. And again, I'm someone who loves baseball jerseys. I love to collect them. I really don't know how many of these authentics, at least, I don't see the reason. I mean, if they're going to take stuff away, maybe the material is a little different, maybe, whatever, but the overall look of the jersey just doesn't look good. The aesthetics, I should say, of the jersey, the name on the back, the placement of the Batterman logo is just weird. Now, maybe over time it's something you get used to like anything else, but I can't say with 100% that I'm going to be grabbing a bunch of these, right? There's just, I'm sure I'll get a Phillies jersey here and there, but that's a tough sell, at least for an authentic. I'll say at least for an authentic. I just can't see the $375 price point for that. For what I'm getting for that amount of money, I can't see myself going in that range. So I might just stick to like the limited versions. The authentics, they're just $375 for that just isn't worth it. Even the paying for option. I mean, there's sales, there's different things, but they are very strange looking. And I mean, I gave them a good look. I gave them a good look at the clubhouse store at the ballpark, at Dick's Sporting Goods, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm going, oh my God, what did they do? What are these? What did they do? Very strange. Just my first blush reaction was this. They look like youth jerseys. This is just very strange. And I don't know. I don't get it, but I'm not the one that comes up with this stuff, right? Yeah. my goodness. But, Nike strikes again. What can you do? We're living in the world where Nike owns the uniforms of baseball, football, and basketball, and they just can't seem to get out of their own way, it seems. What else can we do to piss people off? Oh, we can mess around with the baseball jerseys. That's what we can do. It is what it is. But anyhow, I gave them a look. Not overly impressed. I just it leaves a lot left to be desired, to be honest. But it is what it is. What can you do? I don't know. I was trying to think because obviously they have a lot of different selection at the Clubhouse store, and I forget if the blue ones were like that too. If the powder blue, or if they're kind of trying to keep them throwback looking, so maybe the font might be bigger on those. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head right now if I saw any of the powder blues with like this coming season's deal, right? The smaller fonts. A lot of what I saw was basically like, from last season maybe, or custom. They do custom done jerseys there, and I don't know. I would imagine over time that they're going to have the smaller fonts too, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that starts when the season starts. I don't know. I saw a lot of the powder blues kind of on the on the wall on the shelf of the jerseys, and I don't remember. But I know for sure I saw the white pinstripes, and you can tell right away. Oh, there's a difference here. the size, font, it just again, they look like youth jerseys. It's weird. It's like odd. You see all this space on the jersey and his little name. You would have to see this. You really have to see this in person, or see. I see, and I don't even think the Fanatic pictures really, because they're all stock. It's like stock photo, so I don't think you're seeing it in what they're showing on the website. You'd have to like see these in person to see what I'm talking about. There's a difference. You can tell right away. You can see it right away, and it was bizarre. In my mind, it was just, what are we doing here? And again, there's been mixed emotion by players. Some players, I don't know if they minded as much, but they were talking more about the material of the jersey being different. And again, some players, and you're always going to get the players who like it. Some players hated it, like really voiced their opinion as much as they hated the jersey. But it is what it is. I think it was Hayward on the Dodgers. He loved it. He thought the feel of it was really good, and to each his own. Listen, they're the ones that are going to have to play in these things. I'm just a collector, so I looked at it and just looked at the aesthetic look of the name on the back and said, "Oh boy, this is a tough sell right here." I may have to stick to throwback stuff from here. It's a good thing I got some of the players I already like. I ain't got enough Harper jerseys. I'm good. I do want an Alec Boehm though. That's the only Alec Boehm and Bryson Stott. So we'll see. Hopefully I can find one of the older ones. Which they still have, I believe, obviously, because it was just from last season. But we'll see. Anyhow, that was my take on the new for this season, the Nike, the 3-tiered jerseys that they have available, and the changes that they've made. I really can't say it's for the better. But it's interesting. Look, they're trying something different. I appreciate with even some of the replica ones, they have the logos on the sleeves. That's, even getting that on a replica jersey, I think is a good thing, because, you see the price tag of those. And I do believe I don't know how well the Authentics have been selling. They do tend to run out, for certain teams and certain players. So obviously, people, even at that gaudy high price, people are buying them. But I can't imagine that they're moving like hotcakes with that price point. So I think in their eyes, well, let maybe we can do a little more with the replica line. And again, I don't know what that says about the authentic line going forward. The elites, they're still making them. You go to Fanatics right now, you'll find a whole bunch of them. Uh but at least even in a replica jersey, they give you the option for some of the logos on the sleeves or teams that wear them and whatnot. So at least there's that. But then you have that font of the name on the back. It's yeah. So there's nothing as perfection, as we all know. But anyhow, that was my kind of rant and rave about that. So that's coming our way this season, for Nike MLB. I saw Tampa Bay in hockey switching gears a little bit. They put out a new alternate jersey, a black jersey. I thought the overall look of it's pretty good. In fact, that they're playing right now on my TV. It's them versus Ottawa, I think, on NHL Network, and they're wearing them. I think they're wearing them most home games. It's odd to me that like Tampa and San Jose brought out these third jerseys like late in the season, after the All-Star break. It is kind of weird that's kind of how it happened. I don't know if it's a manufacturer deal or what. Obviously, the jerseys are made by Adidas. I don't know if there was some sort of issue, so they brought them late. Obviously, they're going to continue wearing them into the next seasons with Fanatics taking over. I mean, this isn't like a half season and it's done type of thing. But I think overall they look pretty solid. And now you have someone from their broadcast team showing the jersey as I speak. I think it's a sharp looking jersey. There are aspects of it I think I would have done a little different. So what they did was they made so they have this alternate black jersey, and what they did was the font on the jersey for the letters and numbers are the original font from when the Lightning came into existence, right back in the 90s. It's their original font for their name and numbers, and so they put that on a kind of modernized jersey, which is a pretty ballsy move. You don't usually kind of see that kind of thing, but Tampa decided that that's what they're going to do. I like it. I think that original font looks really good for their jerseys. Obviously many great players wore that font back in the day. I mean, you go back to the, Le Cavaliers, to the St. Louis, to the Grattans. I mean, Wayne Gretzky's brother wore that jersey. I believe his number was 44 back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, when he played on the Lightning. Dino Ciccarelli. I mean, a lot of players back in that day with the Lightning. Brad Richards. So it's cool to see them kind of going back to their history. The one thing I would have changed, so the front of the jersey, there's a big circular crest. And a lot of teams have kind of done this. But the circle crest. So like the Ducks did it with their, at the time would have been their shoulder patch logo on the front. That was their anniversary jersey. You might remember I have one of those in my collection. The Sharks, the Cali fin is like a circular logo. The back in the day, the Wild, and their third jersey, they had the circular logo. So the circular logo for the crest on the front has been a thing for a while. The Lightning kind of did it. I would have rather, because there's no shoulder patches on the jersey, and that's fine, but I would have rather what they used as the crest for that jersey, if they could have just done the shoulder patches with that and put their old original Lightning Bolt logo on the front with the Tampa Bay. If you remember the Reverse Retro 1.0, which is like real hard to find now, I kind of wish I got it back in the day. but when it was more available. But so that logo they had on the front of that jersey, with the Tampa Bay and the lightning bolt going down, that was the original logo. And so they kind of were bringing that jersey back when they put out the Reverse Retro 1.0 years ago, right? So I would have liked to have seen them do that on this jersey. Again, if they're kind of homage their old font, name and number font, to kind of put that old logo on the front would have been that much better. But instead of just going with the circle crest logo, Tampa Bay, Lightning, whatever it is, it looks good on the jersey, but that's just one of those little nitpicky things that I would have done different, and I would have used that logo that they had as a circle crest as shoulder patches, and that would have made it that much more better for me. It's a jersey I would like to pick up sometime. I love the font, for the name and numbers, so I would like to get it. I don't know when. It's just going to be one of those things that's available. I kind of would like to get a Kucherov jersey because I have a lot of Stamkos already. I mean, the Fanatics version, obviously, they don't put the alternate A's on there. It's not even an option. You can't do anything about that. So, I mean, he's one of their alternates, and I mean, the Fanatics version would be cheaper, but maybe in this is a case that I would just have to get the authentic Adidas, have it customized with the A on there. Hopefully they get the font right. Their original font. That's the one thing I kind of worry about with Fanatics. And I don't think Cool Hockey has it, so I would have to have it done by Fanatics. And we'll see. We'll see. I mean, worst comes to worst, maybe I could just grab another Stamkos, Fanatics, branded, whatever, just have it. But, I have like 3 Stamkos jerseys right now. So it's like, all right, do I really want a 4th? I mean, yeah, there are other jerseys I would like to have of him if I had my dredgers, my pick. But, I like variety. I would like to get another player, and Kucherov's having a tremendous year, and that's the first year they wore this jersey, so it would kind of make sense. So I may have to just bite the bullet, do the paying for it at some point, whenever I get it. I don't know when it will be, and just get the Adidas customized option with the A on there, and there it is. But it is what it is. But I think it's a good look. Like I said, a couple things I would have changed a little bit. They put like the stripes on the sleeves for the 3 cups. I guess they won it on the back neck area. They have the years that they won the cups, 3 Stanley Cups in their history, and so that's cool. That's digging into their history, and overall it's a good look. It's a nice looking jersey on the ice. It's nice looking, and. So at some point I'll probably grab one. I don't know when. It's just one of those things of whenever I can kind of deal. I still haven't even grabbed the Flyers, Stadium Series jersey, which of course they lost. I was watching the game at PJ Willihan's with my buddy Mark, and another buddy of ours came, and we were watching the game together. And I'm sitting there, and we had a good time, and that's it's always good to have some fun with friends, right? But I'm sitting there, and I'm just shaking my head. The Flyers, they get in these outdoor games. This is like the 6th outdoor game or whatever they've been in, 5th or 6th. They've been in a lot of them, and they just never win. They won 1 in overtime against Pittsburgh, but they don't win these damn things, and they get put in them. And it's almost like you have to pencil it in as an automatic L. Like as soon as it's like, oh, another outdoor game, great. That's not. And New Jersey, I know they have a lot of star talent, but they're not that good this year. It's like this was a winnable game. And like I said, this season for the Flyers is a gravy year. Was not what was really expected of them before the season. They've had kind of, I guess, played over their head or whatever. But they're in the playoff race, and this is like a big game against a team that's chasing you, and 32 seconds in, it's 1-0 New Jersey's like, damn, is this how this game's going to go? Come on. Really, I really, I do kind of hope it's quite a while before the Flyers are in an outdoor game, although I'm starting to think. I was surprised. So in 2026, the country turns 250th. It's the 250th birthday, basically, for America, right? And, of course, Philadelphia, right? It's a big year, right? So Philadelphia wanted to get as many of the All-Star games and the events. So the NHL All-Star games going to the Islanders. I'm like, it's been since like the early '90s that the Flyers have hosted it all. You couldn't have had it here. I mean, I know there's teams in Canada, and whatever. It is what it is. But like, it's the 250th birthday of America. You should have the All-Star game here. The baseball All-Star games in Philly. I hope the NBA one will be in Philly. The last one that we've hosted was 2002. But no, the Islanders are getting in 2026. But what I'm starting to think is, well, okay, so we didn't get an All-Star game. So does that mean that the Flyers are going to host either a Winter Classic or a Stadium Series that year? Because, again, 2026, the 250th birthday of America, right? Wouldn't it make sense that the year begins January 1st in Philly, right? So I have this feeling the Flyers might get an outdoor game that year. Probably host it. Would either be at the Citizens Bank or the Link again, But, I mean, it would kind of make sense if you think about it. I mean, the nation's 250th birthday, January 1st of that year. I mean, yeah, let's have a game in Philly. I won't be overly, excited because it's probably going to be another loss. But I can see it, right? It's probably going to be they'll pick two, real patriotic cities for America, right? So they'll be like the Flyers versus Boston, or the Flyers versus Washington, or something like that, right? That in Philly, I can just see it happening, right? January 1st, or a Stadium Series between the Philadelphia and Washington or Boston. Because I was just thinking, it just came out of my thought process, well, I hope the Flyers aren't in one of these outdoor games again for a while. And then I'm like, oh no, 2026, that could be the next one. I don't know if they would have the Penguins. I don't know if they would do a Flyers-Penguins one again. I mean, they could. But I could just see the NHL saying, you know what, Philly, there you go. We're going to start 2026 in Philly in an outdoor game that your Flyers have been real terrific at over the years. We have to start the year with a loss? Come on. So I was even saying, anytime there's this game that has some sort of, right, the Stadium Series, which, by the way, why is it called the Stadium Series? I know this year there was 2 games, but they really didn't have anything to do with each other, and it's not a series. It's a game. There's one. Usually it's one game. Some years there's 2, like this year they wanted to do 2 in the Meadowlands with 4 different teams. It's not a series. You play one game, and whoever wins doesn't play another game. It's one game. That's the Stadium Series. I always thought it was kind of a weird name for that because it's a one-off, right? It's like the Winter Classic. It's one game. The Stadium Series, I know over the years it's like a series, but it's not a series. It's a game. But I guess it has a nice name to it, so that's what they have to call it. But Winter Classic, Little League Classic. Well, if there's some sort of name with the game, like some classic or series or whatever it is, and the Philly team's involved, it's usually going to be a loss for us. I don't know why. We can't win these games. These special games, these games where one of our teams are involved. Regular season, within the regular season, whatever. It's no, we're going to go there. There's going to be pomp and circumstance. There's going to be all this whoop-de-doo about it, and it's going to be a loss. The other team's going to win. That's usually how it goes. So I don't know, man. I'm like getting a little tired of being in these games only to lose. We lost the Little League Classic last year. We lose in the Stadium Series, the Winter Classics, the whatever some big regular season game. Philly's in there, and it goes the other way. It goes to the other team most times, right? The Eagles are going to start in Brazil next year. They'll probably call it some sort of game. I don't know who we're playing, but I don't know if it really matters. I hate to say it. I don't want to sound cynical, but it's a special game in the regular season and we're involved. You know how that story usually ends. I know we won the London game, the only time the Eagles were in London against Jacksonville, but that was like a rarity. That was like it must have been an eclipse that night or something. I don't know, but it's usually it goes the other way. So the Brazil game, thanks NFL. That really it's appreciated. My goodness. Do I sound like a cynical Philly fan? I've been through it over the years. This is like, we're used to this. Say, I'm sitting there and I'm just going, that we gotta play in these outdoor games, don't we? This is how it's gonna go. That was disappointing. I actually, not that it wasn't like, I kind of figured that that's how it was gonna go, but it was like, just maybe, no, here's another goal. All right. It's not our night. Their goalie did the proverbial stand on the head thing, and Urson kept letting in bad rebound goals. So no, that's basically how the weekend went. Looking at jerseys with too small a name font, and the Flyers losing another outdoor game. My goodness. And then the Tampa Bay alternate jersey for hockey. Oh, my God. My God, such fun. We do. It's the little things in life sometimes. You just have to smile. How are you? So no, but shout out to Mark M. He had his Stadium Series jersey on, the Travis Konechny, and of course last week it was also announced the Flyers have a new captain, Sean Couturier. Congrats to Coots, and Konechny is an alternate captain now, along with Scott Laughton. Scott Laughton was the only Flyer that lettered last year and into this year, and now finally they have a new captain and another alternate captain. So they got their captain and alternate captains situated now. So although Lawton might be traded on trade deadline, we'll see. It's still kind of up in the air. So there's that. Jersey wise, other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot. Mitchell and Ness hasn't really pumped out a whole lot. They made a couple more swingman jerseys. I do have some interest in some. The Robert Ory, Big Shot Bob, Houston Rockets. That's from the championship years, that would be a pretty cool one. Harold Miner, Miami Heat, yeah, I know it's not the authentic ones, but, sometimes beggars can't be choosers, right? It's just, you want a jersey, right? So they've been pumping out some of those, of late. Kind of waiting on baseball to see what they're going to do. As the season gets closer, they usually start putting out their new authentics for baseball and some of the batting practice around, I guess, March, maybe, as the season draws closer, or maybe in April they'll start hitting the they'll start hitting the shelves. I know they've been putting out some more of the Blue Line collection for hockey. And like I said, I'm not a big hater on those like other people can be. I do see the problems, and obviously, for some of the teams, they went with the wrong shade of color for some of the jerseys. I kind of know just to avoid those, to be honest. But, like I said, it kind of gives me an opportunity whenever it does come that I get them to get some jerseys that are very hard to get otherwise. I mentioned this jersey quite a few times already, but the Blueberry, Colorado Avalanche, Nathan McKinnon rookie, that's definitely still on the list because you can't find it otherwise. And if you ever did see, if I ever did run across like like a replica Reebok from back then, I mean the seller, because it's so rare, I mean they just want an arm and a leg for a replica, So if I can grab the Mitchell & Ness Blue Line in it, I mean okay, I can deal with the fact that it's heat pressed and all that stuff. It doesn't really bother me as much as it does a lot of people. Would I prefer it to be stitched? Absolutely, but it's still a nice jersey. I have that Lindros that was gifted to me by Lids. It's comfortable as hell. I wore it to a game. It's part of the collection. I like it. I think there's a place for them. Would I like to see Authentics made? Absolutely. The stitched, everything. But I do think there's a place for these Blue Line jerseys. Are they properly priced? Probably not. But again, I mean, there's so many sales. I mean, you can. I mean, they're having sales for them right now. Someone wrote me on Instagram, talking. There was like 40% off deal for them from one of these sites, right? You can always find a deal. You just have to look. Fanatics has deals all the time. Mitchell & Ness, because they're now in the Fanatics umbrella, they have deals all the time. Now they're the news section stuff staying there a little longer than they should. All right, a lot longer than they should. But eventually, right, those jerseys are going to be on sale, right? So you just have to, I don't know, play the long game in some cases, be patient, wait. Eventually, they're going to be part of their deals. Now, I mean, obviously, if it's a player that's on the restricted list, right, like Jordan or, Jackie Robinson or whatever the list of players, Jim Brown, those jerseys are never going to go on sale. But then again, there's eBay, there's secondary markets. Eventually they start filtering on there, and you can find decent deals for stuff. You just have to look. I always tell people, I have over 1,000 jerseys in this collection, and it's like, how many did I pay retail for out of every jersey that I own? Now I can't give you the exact number, but I can tell you it's probably less than 100. Less than maybe even 70, 60 that I actually paid the full retail price, right? It's just because there's so many deals. There's so many ways to find them. There's so many outlets that give us a collector a chance to get stuff, including from each other, including buying them from one another on the groups on Facebook or other spots, right? And there's deals out there all the time. You just have to look. I was reminiscing with Luca when he came here a few weeks ago to do I was part of a documentary he's going to put together for his YouTube page. And I was talking to him, and I'm like, when I first went to that Mitchell & Ness store many, many years ago, and I first went in there when it was on Chestnut Street at the time. I went in there and I looked at all these jerseys on all these big circular racks, and you would see the price tags. And I'm going in there, I'm like, man, I love these jerseys. I would love to get them. But how am I ever going to look at these prices? How am I ever going to have them? And you were to tell myself back then that here I am in this house, and I have per jersey, per player, per jersey. If just you do one by one, I have more jerseys in this house per player, per jersey. One, if you get if I line my jerseys up one by one, not the repeats, not the per size and all that stuff, but just one jersey each from what was in that store to what I have more than what was in that store. And I'm not trying to brag, but my point in saying that is I was able to amass a collection that was more than what they had in the store. and I didn't hardly paid full price for anything. Now there's some jerseys, yeah, I paid a little for because they're rare. They're old gold, old school Mitchell and Ness gems, hard to get, hard to find. So maybe I spent a little bit per those, but most of them, most of what I have, I didn't. I mean, I went under retail, from what was retail back then, from what's retail today. It's all in, just about every jersey in this collection. Just about. No, there's a few. There's a few, but just about every one has been I purchased under retail, and that's that's 1,000 plus jerseys in this collection. So that just goes to show that there's just so many deals out there. You just have to look, and you have to be patient at times. You really, and I know it's hard for me to say that because I'm not the most patient, but I'm learning. Right, the FOMO is real. It is. But you got to be patient. You got to wait for that right deal. And even if the deal isn't there, there's other options. There's a paying for option with PayPal, which has been very dangerous. Maybe that hasn't been the best of ideas. But it's there. It at least allows you to get something maybe a little more pricey, but at least the payment for it is spread out a little more. And that kind of helps, right? But also, there's just so many deals. And that's the one good thing about Fanatics. And I know that people have had issues with Fanatics. I get that. But they give you a chance to get stuff. They're having deals all the time. Mitchell & Ness being owned by Fanatics, they're having deals just about every other week or so. They'll throw something, right? The website will do something. The store will do. The store's done more since being under the Fanatics umbrella. It gives you a chance to get stuff. I'm not saying every time they throw a sale out there, grab something, because, I mean, even I don't, you have to kind of pick your battles at times. uh, but at least it's appreciated and it's known that that you're going to have ample opportunity to get stuff. You just have to wait sometimes. You just have to be patient. And keep looking, keep searching, and you'll find it. You'll find deals. You just have to kind of, survey the landscape, as it were, and just kind of know when the time is right to strike, So, I mean, I've done it, and again, this is a collection I'm very proud of and I have a great passion for. But one of the things I am also proud of is, I mean, thinking back to myself back many years ago at the Mitchell & Ness flagship on Chestnut Street, with me sitting there saying, oh, how can I ever get these? They're too expensive. But then you learn, and you find deals, you find ways of getting them at affordable prices. And you're able to amass a collection. And I mean, believe me, if I can go back today, if that store's, empty and put all the racks that I have in, I could probably fill the store now. And again, I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that, this is what over, between 15 and 20 years, this is close to 20 years, about 20 years of collecting will do. I mean, this is what you're able to amass, able to get. And I've been very persistent with it, I know. It's like I told Luca, I don't do things halfway. If I have passion in it and I'm going to put my stamp on it, it's going to be my collection. Yeah, it's going to be pretty impressive. It's going to be a big collection. And it's going to have lots of variety. That's one of the things I've always liked. I like having a lot of variety. Of different players, different teams. I love my Philly teams. I'm 5 for 5 with them, right? I love these teams, believe me, to a fault. Maybe a little too much. But for collecting, I can't just do Philly teams. Some of my favorite jersey is a Philly jersey, right? It is an Eagles jersey. Super Bowl 52, as we know. Fletcher Cox Nike replica that I wore right in this room watching that game. You would see that on YouTube, on this channel. And I wore it to the parade, so it will always be my favorite. And there's so many great Philly jerseys that I own for all the different teams, right? I still have to get a Union. That's the one I still have to get. And they mean a great deal to me. They'll probably always mean amongst the most to me, right? Because that's what's in my heart. That's my fandom. But I have a lot of great jerseys, rare jerseys, jerseys that, unicorn jerseys. I mean, just a lot of great stuff. But I have all that because I've been very persistent, and I've always just done what I can do to get these things. And sometimes maybe it's right or wrong at the time when I get them, but it's what makes me happy. It's my escape, in life. I mean, look, I have a job Monday to Friday, and I do what I have to do for my job, and, it is what it is, right? Other responsibilities, right? I have with the house, with my vehicles, with, family, with friends, right? A lot of life responsibilities, right? So this is the hobby, this is what I have fun with, right? This is, yeah, it's a great passion, but this is what I love to do. So I surround myself with it. I've always done it. This what I do with jerseys is what I did many years ago with the Mighty Mouse collection. With sports cards, back in the day, basketball, like NBA cards. With, when I was very young, toys and Matchbox cars, just surrounding myself with those things because I loved them, right? So I mean, that's just how I do it. That's how I collect. And, yeah, it's, you have to be a little crazy and to do it, but it's just, it's my dad said to my mom many, many years ago, and I always remembered it. It's just how I'm wired. This is how I'm wired, so it means a lot to me to do this, and I love it. And I as long as I have the passion and the room, which, yeah, I think I'm only a few more Z-bottom racks away from. But as long as there's that, I'm gonna keep doing it. As much as I want to keep bringing you this content here on YouTube, which we've gone 52 minutes. These are always long videos, I know, but yeah. Again, this is something I'm proud of, and it's again, I marvel, I really do, because I remember myself at that store, and I remember myself looking at these and just the price tags and saying, how is this ever going to happen? And lo and behold, 20 years later, I mean, this is what it is. It's there. But yeah. But thanks for joining with me, as always. A little couple topics, some Jersey stuff. We talked a little sports, as we usually are going to do here on the channel. Thanks for joining in with me here for another marathon video, but that's how MightyFan does it, right? That's just how it's gonna be. But what do you always gotta do, right? You gotta leave those likes, like, right? Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and make sure to hit the bell icon to be notified to all future content from yours truly, and hope to be putting out some more content soon, so be on the lookout. You just never know what you're going to see in these videos, so you never want to miss an episode, so make sure to hit the bell icon so you're able to do so. And yeah, that's going to do it for me, finally, right? Enough. So I'm going to go. I probably should get to bed. Another work day tomorrow. And we get through another work week. But thanks for all the support, as always, the continued support to the channel. I'll be back again soon with another video, and that's going to do it for me. So you all take care, and I will see you again soon. All right, everyone, take care.